What's going on, everybody? It's Nice Pants Lance. Today we've got the 1999 Honda Valkyrie out here, and I just want to talk about a few things with you guys. So for my next motorcycle, I am extremely picky. I need a motorcycle that checks a lot of boxes. So I have some criteria for my next motorcycle, and so today I want to talk about 4 of them, and that would be comfort, performance, style, and price. So I need my next motorcycle to knock each one of those out of the park. So when I ride this, we're gonna talk about how this bike stacks up to those 4 things. Another thing I want to talk about today, and I'm sure it's the main reason why you guys are here, is are metric cruisers better than Harleys? Without further ado, let me hop on this 1999 Honda Valkyrie. It's a flat 6, so it's very unique. You know, most cruisers are V-twins. So this bike is a big 700-pound, possibly 800-pound cruiser. Doesn't quite feel like it though, because of the way the weight is displaced. This motorcycle, having a flat 6, carries its weight down low. So it's, imagine a like someone walking a tightrope while holding a long bar straight across. Kind of helps with balance. So I will admit, picking this bike up off the side stand compared to picking a Harley or an Indian off the side stand, it's definitely much easier on this thing. Oh my god, it's dead. Well, that's what I get for not starting this bike up and putting it on a trickle charger. It's actually like 30 degrees out. I'm freezing. I got my winter gear out. So all right, let's see if I can't pop start this thing. I'm gonna put it in first gear, and roll down this hill. Come on, baby, come on. Woo-hoo-hoo! Woo-hoo-hoo! That's how you do it. Oh man. First of all, can I say how amazing this bike sounds? This is one of the only 6-cylinder motorcycles in existence out there. But you know, it sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. This bike really encapsulates the defined muscle bike or muscle cruiser. All right, so anyways, I am 6 feet tall. I got a 32-inch inseam, and I want to talk about comfort here. So I'm a bigger guy. I like bigger bikes. My next bike, I want it to be either a cruiser or an adventure bike, which those 2 genres seem to fit bigger guys the best. Sport touring bikes are definitely on the roster too, but I don't have much of a budget to work with, so a lot of the sport touring bikes that I like are way out of my price range. I will say that the American cruisers definitely emphasize the comfort, whereas I noticed a lot of Japanese cruisers and foreign cruisers, you know, Triumph cruisers, they focus a little more on performance and they dial down the comfort a little bit. This cruiser definitely has the freaking comfort I like. This is about as comfortable as I can get, and you know, without getting a touring bike. This bike is comfortable enough where you can tour, but it's not a bagger by any means. So on the comfort scale, this thing has got it, man. Is this bike comfortable enough to be a bike that I like? Yeah, man, I would own a bike this comfortable. Heck yeah, this checks off the box. Is this bike more or less comfortable than American bikes? About the same, to be honest with you. About the same. This bike is definitely as comfortable as American bikes. I've ridden all sorts of Harleys and Indians, twin cams, Milwaukee 8s, Dynas, Softails, frickin' Street Bob, Lowrider, Street Glide, Road King, Road Glide, Pan America. I mean, I've ridden them all. Same thing with Indians, Scout 60, Chiefs, Chieftains, Challengers, Super Chief. I've ridden them all. I've ridden almost all the American cruisers that are out right now, in modern time at least. And yeah, I can say this is as comfortable as that, for sure. Definitely as comfortable. Now let's talk about performance. So this bike has a 1500cc, it's liquid cooled, and it makes 100 horsepower and 100 pound-feet of torque. Now, by today's standards, it's not the most powerful out there as far as cruisers go, but man, this is a 1999. So back in 99, there weren't really any cruisers that were easily pushing 100. Ooh, yeah. Oh yeah, there's that 100 horses right there. Woo! Oh man. So yeah, this thing was known as a Harley killer because not only was this particular bike, the Honda Valkyrie, a lot of these parts are actually made in America. So if you ever hear a Honda Valkyrie owner say that his bike is more American than the Harleys of the time, he's actually correct. These bikes were produced, I believe, in the Midwest. A lot of these parts were sourced from the US, whereas a lot of parts from Harleys were actually, oh my God, were actually made in other countries, but they were assembled in the United States. Big difference there. Performance-wise, this bike rocks and rolls. American cruisers are typically they're V-twins, air-cooled, liquid-cooled maybe, and the one thing that they tend to have in common is that they are very old-fashioned, chunky, industrial-sounding engines. They focus more on producing a cool sound than they do actually pushing maximum performance. This bike is definitely not like that. This bike can rev and it's got torque. So people love American cruisers because they're very torquey. You get a ton of power like as soon as you twist the throttle. You don't have to worry about revving it or where your RPMs are, because on those bikes you can have that thing in 5th gear and just almost come to a damn stop, and you can pull away because of how much stump pulling torque these American cruisers have. This engine is actually, displacement wise, it's actually a lot smaller than the modern big V-twin cruisers. So this bike is actually, being a 1500cc engine, it's actually a lot smaller than the 18, 19, 2000cc engines that are out there right now. This bike does not have the stump pulling torque down low. It's definitely got pull. After 2000 RPM, it's definitely got pull, but it's 6 cylinders, so that pull you get is extremely smooth, extremely liquid. Those American V-twin cruisers, they tend to be a little more on the jerky and violent side, which is very appealing to people that like torque. You know, if you like muscle cruisers, then that's why V-twins are so popular, because they give you all that up front. This bike, you know, it actually feels like it pulls me more aggressively when I'm at like 4,000 RPM. Gosh, even higher than that. So yeah, you can really feel that horsepower with this motorcycle. It definitely gives you more power and acceleration when you're revving it high. So yeah, engine-wise, this has got more performance than the majority of the V-twin cruisers out there at this point. In 99, this thing was dusting off every American cruiser that came out. But in today's standards, it's still pretty impressive. 100 horsepower, 100 pound-feet, that's definitely nothing to scoff at. But I believe horsepower-wise, it's right at about where the 114 and 117 Milwaukee 8s are. It's right at about where the 111 and 116 Thunderstroke are that Indian makes. but torque-wise, it's not pumping out that torque. It's 100 pound-feet isn't much compared to the 120 pound-feet that the Harleys and Indians make. So with all that being said, American cruisers are more torquey. They definitely produce more torque. This bike is better at straight line speed. This thing is just, it revs higher, carries its power further. This bike is just, it's faster than a lot of Harleys. If for any reason it's revs out even higher, like, you know, you don't want to hit the red line on a Harley Davidson when you're in a race, because you'd actually get more acceleration if you shifted sooner. This bike is more resemblant of a sport bike. You know, it gets faster and faster as those RPMs climb. So this thing would actually be able to contend with the modern American cruisers with more torque than this, just because of how much power it's got and how it makes that power. So performance-wise, does this engine make the kind of power that I like? Honestly, no. I had a speed twin before this, and that thing had almost as much power, almost as much torque as this bike, but it was like half the weight. You know, I'm looking for something that just blows me away with power. And this bike is freaking amazing, but it's not enough to be Nice Pants Lance's new motorcycle. It's just not enough. I'm kind of reluctant to go with a cruiser for my next bike anyways. I'd really like an adventure bike, but I don't have much money to spend. So handling wise, this handles about as good as any American cruiser. It feels more balanced because of its where the engine is located, what kind of engine it is. The weight distribution is very sweet on this bike in particular. So handling wise, yeah, I mean, it's got like a 190 rear or a 180 rear, so it can definitely swing back and forth, but this is definitely a low motorcycle. The ground clearance isn't that high, hindering its lean angle. So obviously this is nothing compared to my Speed Twin or any naked style bike for that matter, but handling wise, yeah, this is definitely a bike that you do comfortable cruiser things on. This isn't like a bike that you're gonna be ripping around the twisties on. You definitely can, but honestly, I might even say that the newer Harleys handle a little better than this, honestly. This bike feels more balanced for how big it is, compared to the Harleys where you can feel the weight a little bit more directly. But yeah, I don't know, the lean angle and everything, I'd almost say that the new Harleys and Indians handle a little better. This definitely out handles like 90% of the Harleys that are on the road. But so yeah, for 99, yeah, it blows everything out of the water, this bike. Handles great and it goes great. The bike stops great too. It's got a freaking hydraulic clutch in it, just like a lot of the Harleys do. You could tell they were really going after that Americana with this motorcycle, and they freaking nailed it, because they gave a lot of people what they want. You know, a lot of people at the time, they wanted a powerful Harley Davidson, but you know, those who didn't want to have to take their engines apart and modify them, you know, you would settle for a bike like this that is arguably more reliable, makes modified Harley power right out of the gate, and is a lot cheaper too. So yeah, I mean, it really, I hate to say it, but this bike definitely outperforms the majority of the American cruisers. It's taken decades for the American cruisers to catch up to a bike like this performance-wise. So does this have the performance to satisfy me? No, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. Is this performance better or worse than American performance? Yeah, it is actually. It freaking is. I'd say the majority of it, yeah. The very newest model year Harleys and Indians. I don't know, they're starting to edge a bike like this out, but this is from 1999. So yeah, I will say that metrics do tend to perform better than American Cruisers. Sorry guys. All right, so let's talk about style. And for this, I'm gonna pull back into my driveway so we can actually look at this thing. God, the sound is incredible. Oh, big, heavy bike. Style. Does this have the style? I mean, look at this bike. I've had people ask me if this is a Boss Haas. I've had people ask me, is this a V8 motorcycle? I've been asked a ton of questions like that. But it's just got such a nice look to it. That front fender is so chunky. The bike itself is so wide. It's got these attractive down tubes, and just the carburetors look so nice here. Gosh, this is fantastic. Love the way this looks. Does this have the style for me? Yeah, it freaking does, actually. Yeah, it does. I would love to be the owner of this motorcycle. Conversation piece, all that stuff. It does everything that Harley riders wish their Harleys freaking did to them. Like you'll get Harley guys telling you, oh yeah, people just come up, you know, they come far and wide to talk to me about my motorcycle. No, they freaking don't, dude. Unless you've got something just like absolutely crazy unique, then yeah, the only people that are asking you questions about your Harley at the gas station are other freaking Harley owners, okay? Other dudes. So anyways, is this style better or worse? Yeah, that's for you to decide. Does this have the style for me? It sure does. And the last little bit of criteria I want to discuss is price. This bike is definitely, it varies in price because of its cult bike status. A lot of people spend big money to buy these motorcycles because they don't make them anymore, and they're a total gem. They're extremely reliable. This one's got like 80,000 miles on it, and it still runs just like the freaking day came off the showroom floor. These bikes are priced considerably less than American Cruisers. Good luck finding a big bore American Cruiser for less than 10 grand. That's got decent mileage on it. Bikes like these, you can find them for well under 10 grand. This freaking bike was like under 8 grand, this particular one. So you can find these way cheaper than you can find a Harley, you know, assuming you're not going for a freaking 80s Harley or something like that. Does this have enough price for me? Yeah, it does, actually. I can afford this thing. If I looked on Craigslist right now, there's not too many left with low miles, but yeah, there's a bunch out there, and they are less than 10 grand. So yeah, this has got the price for me, which wraps it up. This bike was close. It nails it in everything except for performance. I want something that does more. You know, don't get me wrong, I love the shaft drive and the liquid cooling and all that, but I need something that really gets my heart racing when I pull that throttle back. You know, I want to feel like I'm the fastest thing on the freaking road, whether it's a cruiser or not. So, yep. And to wrap this video up, what is better, metrics or American Cruisers? You know what? One thing to keep in mind is metric Cruisers were amazing when many of them came out, when the Boulevards came out, the M109R, the Valkyries, the Honda VTXs, the Yamaha V-Stars, the freaking Yamaha Raider, all these big muscle bikes that were known as Harley killers, Triumph Thunderbird 1700, you know, the Thunderbird Storms, all those motorcycles at the time blew Harley out of the water. They blew Indian out of the water, and they actually still hold a candle to the the most up-to-date technological American cruisers. So the brand new ones, they still actually perform decent compared to those. I will say, I think they are as good as American cruisers, and at one point they were better than American cruisers. But I will say that all of those metric cruisers that made such an impact in the world, they haven't been updated. Suzuki hasn't touched their M109R in like a decade at least. Yamaha got rid of all their freaking cruisers. I think the only V-Star they make is the 250 now. Honda dropped the ball. They don't make the Valkyrie anymore. They just make the Goldwing. They don't make the VTXs anymore. It's a miracle that the Fury was around for as long as it was, and honestly the only other cruiser they got is the Rebel and the Shadow. So Yamaha's got a Bolt now that competes with like the Harley 883, but they just aren't as good as American cruisers anymore because they stopped trying. They stopped updating them. So our metric cruisers better than American cruisers? Yes, they kind of are, and they were, but not as much anymore. It's American cruisers have caught up these days. Anyone on a bike like this, you're probably gonna get messed up by a Harley with some cams and a tune in it. You know what I mean? It's been a while. Metrics could be better, but I don't know, man. These foreign companies, they just aren't really doing anything exciting. They're not touching their bikes. R&D isn't as great. I will say though, to call out Triumph. Triumph is doing some amazing stuff, and they're making all sorts of new motorcycles and really trying to branch out into different areas. Like they're actually making a dirt bike right now. They're making a smaller displacement 400cc bike for like India. You don't see too many other foreign brands really trying new stuff like that, and that's the reason why metric cruisers aren't as good as American bikes anymore. That's why they kind of slowed down. So so yeah, there it is. Yes but no, and yeah. Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to pass. I'm gonna have to pass this bike up as my next ride. If you have any suggestions for my next motorcycle, leave it down in the comments. If you like this video, give me a like and subscribe if you want to see more. Hopefully, I'll have my clutches on a new motorcycle for me by the time the snow falls. Have a good one, everyone. Peace.